Good Monday afternoon to you and welcome to our Chef Show Place. My name is Pam Smith. It's my delight to welcome you here and to host you through these next 45 minutes of great food and great wine. And great because of so many factors. One, you're here. And for how many of you is this your very first culinary demonstration here at the Food and Wine Festival? Wow, a good number of you. Well, welcome. I trust you will find what we have found, those of us that have been to many such demos, that they're quite addictive in all the right ways because you get an opportunity to see a great chef put together a dish of his own or her own inspiration, creation. You get to see the tips and techniques that a top chef uses in the commercial kitchen, but gives that kind of direction for what we can do in our own kitchen. Many of us are very avid TV Food Network or Cooking Channel type watchers. We watch Top Chef, we watch Master Chef, we watch Hell's Kitchen, but to be able to not only see a chef up close and personal, put together a dish, but then to have a chance, something that TV can never allow, a chance to taste that dish, all of a sudden you know that truly magic is being born right here on stage, and that's fantastic. In about 15 or 20 minutes, you will have Chef Joseph Green's dish, which you have a recipe for as well, Pecan brown ale braised pork belly, hello, with brown butter, celery root puree, pickled fennel, and it's going to be paired with a most delicious glass of Meiomi Pinot Noir. Have any of you had Meiomi Pinot Noir before? Okay, not many. Well, again, like Chef Joe's culinary demo and all the culinary demos that follow become addictive, this could become your new favorite Pinot Noir, even if you're not a red wine drinker, because it's such an elegant wine. It has a beautiful balance. It is sourced from 3 different vineyards in California and 3 different regions, both Sonoma, in addition to Monterey, and specifically in Sonoma, the Russian River, which is just Pinot Noir king, but then also a little bit of Santa Barbara. With that, the winemaker has been able to just strike that perfect balance and harmony with the wine. Very elegant, very approachable, not overly tannined, but enough to stand up to Chef Joe's pork belly. So I think you'll find it really desirable. It's going to be served to you. Actually, it's being served right now. As it comes, just take a sip and continue to sip. The only thing I ask is that you save a sip, so that when Chef Joe's dish comes, you'll have an opportunity to taste those two together, because we really do think it will be a beautiful pairing. So ask very little, just a sip, all you have to save. You'll have ample time to ask questions, so as they come to mind, keep them in mind. If it's a burning question that you need to know right then, get our attention if we don't happen to see the hand, and we'll be sure to take that as they come. Chef Joseph Green, we're so excited to have here. I told him when I woke up this morning and looked at the schedule, I'm like, oh my gosh, Chef Joe. He has such a way with flavor. He has passion for food and commitment to great ingredients, literally in his DNA, I think. At the age of 20, he opened a restaurant with his uncle. He was absolutely there in the kitchen making magic happen. We're very grateful that he decided to further his culinary career right here at Disney, and he's worked his magic through all kinds of our properties, from Victoria and Albert's at Disney's Grand Floridian to Restaurant Akershoe right here at Epcot. And now we find him working that magic at our Rose and Crown. So we're thrilled he's here with us. How about a huge food and wine welcome for Chef Joseph Green. Woohoo! Hey, hey.
Hello, hello. Hi, everybody.
Hey, hey. Yeah. Oh. We come with fans.
Yeah, my parents are here.
Oh my
girlfriend
goodness.
and her dad. Yeah.
Well, hey. Nothing like a little pressure, right?
No.
No. So we'll get the scoop and get the dirt from
Oh,
earlier
yeah, absolutely.
on.
I got tons of it on my dad. Just let me
Oh,
know.
good. Okay. Little back and forth balance there. That's fantastic. Well, as I said to our wonderful guest here, I was so excited you were here because
you.
I knew
Excited
we were
to
going
be here.
have. I know.
It's a
we
food and
knew
wine festival.
It's a food and wine festival. Woo! And Rose and Crown is a huge part of the festival.
It is, yeah. Our fish and chip hut gets really busy, especially on the weekends.
Yes.
So.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
much so. Well, you all are just kind of action central there. I think the way people come in and they make that turn, and it's all of a sudden, to me, you almost kick off the festival
absolutely,
for
yeah.
many around the promenade.
Well, if the guests come in International Gateway, and they go towards the UK first, that's the first thing they see is the fish hut.
That's
So.
exactly right.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So, is this dish your own, or is this from Rose
dish
and Crown?
is my own.
Oh, nice.
It all started with this beer that I have in front of me.
Yes.
Last year, actually working the festival, took some nice R&R up in Hilton Head Island. Disney's got a really nice resort up there, so spent a week
Beautiful
up
one,
there.
yes.
And my girlfriend and I ate this really nice kind of gastro pub place, and this beer was on the menu. And I'm like, I've never heard it, never tried of it, so I tried it and I loved it so much, and I did some research on it and actually found it down here in Florida.
Ah.
So, but my inspiration was from this beer. Now, believe it or not, Florida right now is so hot, but we're in fall time now, right? So this, dark nut brown ale, brown butter, it reminds me all of, the fall.
Right,
and so what's to
celery
come.
root, pork
Yeah.
belly. I mean, so many things that are part of it just almost scream fall and comfort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what is it that just drew you into that beer?
I don't know. I'm not a very big fan of the real hoppy beers because the bitter note. And actually, it's funny. My brother is a sales manager for Modern Times Brewing out in San Diego, and he's all about these IPAs and really hoppy forward beers. And I'm like more of like the lager guy and brown ales, pilsners. So there's
got
there's
some
a
that
lot,
agree. Yes.
Yeah. There's it's not all about the IPA.
Right.
Everybody's all about the IPA. So, but yeah, I like the brown beers.
Good.
So, yeah.
I love it. Well, again, what you're doing with it, I think, will be quite an inspiration because we oftentimes think about cooking with wine, but people don't oftentimes think about cooking with an ale, but yet it becomes this beautiful caramelized kind of broth.
And that's where it could be difficult because if you do use a beer that has a lot of hops in it, a lot of bitter notes, once you start to cook it down, the bitterness really comes out.
Right.
So for a beer like this, actually it gets a little sweeter as it cooks down.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So do we start with popping open a beer? Or
I'm
what?
actually gonna grab the belly here.
Okay.
Okay. And instead of having a little piece cut, I wanted to show you guys the full belly itself. So
yeah, I actually did a double take when I looked at the recipe, and it's like, wow, 5 pounds of pork belly. Hello.
yeah. So this is a Berkshire pork.
Oh,
originally, the pigs were raised in England. They're all black-skinned pigs. It's kind of like the point of Kobe beef. You know, they're massaged, they're fed nice. They're read stories, whatever.
Yes, exactly.
They're happy pigs. Okay.
Very happy,
Yeah.
exactly. They're fed little acorns and makes them very happy indeed.
So everybody sees this right here?
Yep.
Okay. So the first thing you want to check with pork belly is how much fat you have on the bottom. Now, believe it or not, you want a lot of fat, but you don't want too much because then as you braise it, it will start rendering out, and then you'll just have a big piece of fat in your mouth when you don't want that.
No.
Okay, so we're just going to take this pan. We're going to get this pan nice and hot.
Okay.
Okay. So
that is a big boy.
belly is a big one. Can you just hold that for me? Thanks. So I'm going to cut just a big enough piece where we're going to cook it in this pan here. Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, if you see this is what you want to look for, okay? You want to have some nice, that lean, okay? If there's too much fat, everything will actually render away. So you want some of that lean right there, all right? So what we're going to do is with any protein, when you're going to go sear it, you want it to make sure it's nice and dry. Because what ends up happening is the moisture will actually steam the pan.
Right. And does everybody know what pork belly becomes when it grows up? Bacon. That's right. So all pork belly is, and when you saw that side that Joe was holding up, it just looks like you could just take a little slice of bacon, right? But bacon's been cured or smoked.
And some people, some chefs do like to actually cure or brine their pork bellies. I like to take it straight from the package.
Right.
I think it changes the texture and the integrity of the pork. And you'll actually tell that when you eat it, it'll actually fall apart in your mouth. If we brine it or cure it, it would almost take that chewiness.
Right.
And we don't want that, okay?
Right. Okay.
So these right here, these little peppercorns are actually called grains of paradise.
Oh.
Been kind of popular right now. A lot of breweries are using them.
That's what Sam Adams puts in the summer ale, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's this incredible, nice peppery flavor, but almost like floral. Okay.
Are they hard to find? Can I take a little?
No, they're not too hard to find. You could probably get them from Whole Foods or from basically any restaurant store. So you should be able to get them. So what I did is I actually took some of these, I toasted them a little bit, and then ground them up, and then I made my own little seasoning. So it has kosher salt, and then there's a little bit of just regular black pepper, and then the grains of paradise, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna season the belly up nice. I already dried it up, okay? And we're braising, so you don't wanna be, you don't have to be shy with the seasoning, okay? Because not the inside of the pork is getting seasoned, it's just the outside.
And it's almost creating that initial crust that you're getting.
You know, and we want to make sure it's nice and saturated with all the salt and pepper. Okay? So we're just going to let that sit for a moment. Now, if you want to do this ahead of time, I would try to avoid that because actually the salt will start drawing some of the moisture out of the pork itself.
Which you don't want.
No, we don't want that.
Okay.
Okay, so we got this pan nice and hot. Let's get it a little hotter.
Yeah, I'd take it up to boost.
Yeah. Oh, boost.
Yeah, it's on it.
This is cool up here.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little high tech.
Okay. So I can already tell that my pan's not hot enough because almost call it dancing. If the oil's not dancing, you see how it's kind of still, it's a little bit coagulated still. We want to make sure it gets nice and hot.
Yeah, it's looking a little sleepy there. No dancing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to sear this belly, and we're just going to braise it with some real simple ingredients: carrots, celery, and onion, which is French mirepoix, which is classic. Okay? So we could actually start cutting those up while my pan gets hot. I like using a Spanish onion. Use sweet onions would be good, especially in the summertime. Those are usually pretty well diverse in braising.
But as compared to a red onion, that's a little more pungent.
Yeah, you don't want to go with red onion. Red onion is too pungent, and it will actually change the color of your dish. And with carrots, as long as they're nice and clean on the outside, and nice and washed, you don't have to peel them at this point, okay? It's too much work.
I like that. I like that. And it's a rustic dish,
yeah,
right?
This is a very rustic dish, yeah. And you don't want to cut this too small because you want to be able to pull them out after the pork is braised.
Okay.
Okay. We got some celery here.
Yeah.
All right.
So really almost a rough chop.
Yeah, just a rough chop, you know.
Okay.
And we're not using abundance of it either because, you know, even though it's vegetables, it will give it a really good flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're at our smoke point right now. So that's when we're going to add the belly.
Ah, nice.
All right. It's on boost, right?
It is.
All right. So we're going to let that sear for a little bit. Now, I like cooking this belly in a pan instead of the saute pan. Okay, so what I have right here, I have a hotel pan. You guys could use a braiser. You'd even get the disposable ones you buy from the supermarket. I would just get a couple of them, double them up so it's a little bit stronger. Okay, so with some light herbs in here, we're going to put a few sprigs of thyme. Love thyme. It goes really well with pork.
Oh, yeah.
And then some dried bay leaves. And then we have some sage also. The sage, I want to add the sage because sage really goes well with brown butter. And you won't taste a lot of it, but you'll just taste a little hint.
Just that hint, that essence almost.
Okay, so we want to put that on the bottom of the pan. And then I've got some garlic cloves. Okay, I like to add a lot of garlic. Gives really good flavor. Okay. All right, so we'll set that aside. Okay, we got our vegetables ready for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get going on the, what do we got here? Celery root.
Okay.
All right. Now, has anybody ever had celery root or seen this? Looks kind of weird, right? So this is one of my favorite vegetables. It actually has a lot of flavor. So you want to basically cut the bottom and the top off of it. All right. And sometimes with the bigger ones, you'll actually see these kind of almost like nodules that come in there. Just shave them off, okay? You don't want that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to just shave all the excess off.
And celery root texturally is almost like a potato, except it's less starchy, right?
Yeah, it is less starchy. Sometimes the bigger ones tend to be a little bit more starchier, but these ones actually got in not bad.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And you're going to do a puree with it, which is almost like doing a mashed potato.
Correct, yeah.
Except using the celery root instead.
Yeah. And we're going to cut these pretty small because if you cut them any bigger than, like a 1-inch cube, they take forever to cook.
Right.
Okay? So we're going to put that in the pan. I got some heavy cream.
Okay. And you're actually going to cook it in the heavy cream.
Yes.
No fear, Joe. No fear.
Uh-oh, what happened here?
Uh-oh.
Lost power.
Uh-oh. Houston. There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Exactly.
All right.
And so then let's get that one on, too.
That one, yep. So we're going to get this. You don't have to heat the cream up. You could just do it cold.
Okay.
I like actually starting it from cold because the celery root has its time to kind of absorb the cream. Okay, so we're going to put a little.
And it keeps it from scalding,
absolutely,
too, right?
Yeah. We're going to put a little whole butter in there.
Nice.
All right, and then just a little salt. And we're going to bring that up to a boil. All right, let's check my belly here.
And I see many of you are being served. So again, dive right in and enjoy it now while it's hot. It's polite to wait for the room to be served, but don't do it. And remember to try it with the Pinot if you still have some to do so.
In this other pot, I just have white balsamic vinegar. You could use any vinegar. You could use sherry vinegar. You could use just regular white vinegar, apple cider vinegar. I like using white balsamic because it has really nice acidity to it. So I'm just going to put this in a pan. And then I just have some regular pickling spices. You can buy these at the grocery store, okay?
And this is for the pickled fennel.
Right.
You see the recipe for both the celery root puree and the pickled fennel on the back side of your recipe.
So it's kind of a play on words. I didn't want to do just straight pickled brine for the fennel. So actually we're going to do is we're actually going to make a vinaigrette out of this vinegar.
Oh.
Okay? So we're going to bring that up to a boil. And you could do this ahead of time. You can even take this, heat it up, store it in a mason jar. Week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The longer you leave the pickling spice in there, the stronger flavor it will take.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to do too much. So,
Wow.
all right. That's what you want to see.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. GBD, golden brown delicious.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Okay.
Wow.
So we have our pan ready. Okay. The other side, you don't have to sear it as hard because it's going to be cooking from the bottom. Okay. So we're just going to kiss it, as I say. All right. And right into this pan, we're going to put the belly. All right. And then with this fat, you don't want to throw that away. The fat, that's where all the flavor is. Okay. So while that's hot, we're going to add some of the mirepoix.
Ah, right into it.
Right into it. Now, you don't have to do this at this point. If you guys want to just throw it around the pork belly. I actually like getting a little bit of color, sweating it out. Mm-hmm. You know, you can season with a little salt.
Right.
We won't cook this with a lot of salt because it's going to be cooking 3 to 4 hours.
Right.
If you put salt in this right now, it'll just come out real salty.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. It just develops.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so we're going to get that going. I'm going to pop a beer open. All right. And this beer, I mean, you smell it. I mean, it smells so good.
Oh, it does.
Yeah. It does smell really, it tastes even better, though.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But it's a nice 1-2 punch when you've got them both going, right?
Absolutely. And to continue down the road with the pecan flavor, we're actually going to add some halved roasted pecans in with the braising.
Oh.
Okay. And this will enhance even more of that pecan flavor out of the beer.
Wow.
Okay, so once my vegetables start sweating a little bit, we could actually add some of these pecans to it.
Wow. Yum.
All right. That going. And then we're going to add the beer.
Slowly, because it does foam up a bit, right?
Yeah.
Now, that is a beautiful sight.
Okay, so once this kind of comes to a boil, we don't necessarily have to cook the alcohol. It's not like cooking with wine where you want to cook the wine out. We just want to bring it up to a boil. And then I just have a real light chicken stock here, too. Okay? And, you know, you guys don't have to make your own chicken stock at home. There's lots of good quality chicken stocks out there. I know, I think there's a Chef Choice that's really good.
It is,
Just make sure you get the low sodium one, because, again, you don't want the salt.
Because
Okay?
you can add your own salt later, but
Yeah.
if it's already in, you can't take it out.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually, a few weeks ago, I was at a farmer's market here in Orlando, and I picked some pecans up. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll make my own, you know, peel my own. Unless you have 4 grandchildren that want to spend 2 hours doing this, just buy the store-bought ones,
Yes.
okay?
It was a nice local move
Oh,
on your
yeah.
part, though,
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because they're not easy to get out of that shell.
No,
All right, so
no.
that's going. So just when this starts to go to a boil, we're just going to add a little bit of salt, not much, okay? And we're just going to pour that right over the belly.
Nice.
All right? And then if it's not enough stock, you could just add a little bit more. You just want to cover it gently.
But
all
you'd
right?
add more stock, not more beer.
Yeah, just more
Okay.
stock. All right, and then at this point, what I like using is parchment paper. You could buy a lot of parchment paper in the stores. It comes in just like the roll, like Reynolds wrap. You put that on top of there, and then put foil on top. And this actually ensures that no steam is going to release from here, okay?
And does it also protect it from any of that metallic taste?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just put this on there and the belly was actually touching the foil, when it cooks, you actually start seeing the tin kind of deteriorate.
Yeah, it's
So-
not a pleasant thought.
Yeah. We got an oven on, 350 degrees. It's going to cook about 3.5 hours.
You all don't have anything else to do the rest of the afternoon, do you? So, yeah, we're good. So,
Yeah.
no problem.
So this is a good meal to make in the morning. Set your oven, have everything ready, and then once you get done with the belly, you're ready to go.
So,
okay?
and therein lies a question that I have. If we wanted to get ahead of it, maybe even a day or two before, could we get it to just where you got it to?
You could.
And then hold it in the refrigerator?
You would want to, once the liquid come to a boil, you want to put it over the belly. You want that to cool down completely.
Right.
And then you could put it in the refrigerator with the tin foil on it. And then before you bring it in the oven, just put it on your burner and bring it to a boil, and then put it in the oven.
Okay.
Because you'll add on, believe it or not, probably another 20 to 30 minutes to get it hot.
Just trying to
start
take that
braising.
chill off. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
So here's our vinegar. I just have some of our spices. I'm going to strain those out. Okay.
That is so aromatic. It's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, I love pickling spices. I mean, you can utilize them for multiple different things. So we're just going to let this cool down a little bit. All right? Now you want to make sure that you're stirring this. This is starting to get a little too hot, so I'm just going to turn that down for a little bit. Okay? Now what we're going to do, I'm going to get another cutting board, a small one. I got one right here. Okay? So now what we're going to work on is we're going to work on the vinaigrette. Now the recipe I gave you guys actually says to do the vinaigrette in the blender, but for today, I'm going to show you that you could do it just by hand in a bowl.
Okay.
All right? So we have a nice shallot here. I love shallots. They make really, really good onion flavor.
But a little milder.
Yeah, I would say so. You want to kind of stay away from the smaller shallots. They tend to be a little bitter. I like to add the larger shallots. And we're just going to put a mince on that. All right. And I got a bowl right here. Add some of my shallots there.
Nice.
Now we're going to emulsify this vinaigrette. So to help emulsify the vinaigrette, which means to hold it together, a lot of times you make a vinaigrette at home and it starts to break on you. This will actually prevent it from breaking. So we're going to add a little bit of just Dijon mustard to this.
Which becomes the emulsifier.
Yeah.
So that just means it holds the oil and, in this case, vinegar, which is the water part of it, together.
And I'm going to add a little bit of the vinegar, let it cool down a little bit. And now, traditionally, vinaigrettes are 3-part oil, 1-part vinegar. I like using a 2-to-1 ratio, especially in this aspect. We're making almost like a pickled veg, right? So I'm kind of tricking you. It's not just pickled fennel. We're making a pickled vinaigrette for the fennel.
Nice.
Okay? So we got the mustard, the shallots, the vinegar in there. And then we're just going to stream in a little oil. And you can make this ahead of time. I like vinaigrettes made maybe like 1 to 2 days before I use them.
Right.
Because actually, as it sits, it'll take on that onion flavor from the shallot and the mustard. And just like anything, the longer it sits, the better it ends up coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we got a vinaigrette like that. Now, because I had this spice mixture already, and we're using it on the same plate, might as well season my vinaigrette with it, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so I like a lot of salt in my vinaigrette.
Well, that's one of the things that helps you change that ratio, right?
Absolutely,
Because you've got
yeah.
more vinegar, the salt helps to kind of balance it out somewhat.
And you make this at home, you don't necessarily have to use the 2-to-1. You make the recipe and it's too vinegary for you, add a little more olive oil. You know, you don't like Dijon mustard and you want to use like a grain mustard, use a grain mustard. That's what's so great about cooking. You don't always have to go recipe down, you know. I must have a collection of 200 different cookbooks, and I barely ever look at the recipes.
Right.
I look at, you know, the ingredients in the recipe, and I go from there.
Yes.
So
I thought you were going to say you look at the pictures.
Oh, I do like looking at the pictures, yeah. Believe it or not, when I was a kid, my mom, everybody read stories when you were kids. My mom read me a recipe for banana nut bread out of a Sesame Street cookbook.
Really?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh.
it was like I was destined to be a chef from that point on.
Yes, there is no doubt.
Absolutely. All right, so the celery root you want to cook almost like a potato. You want to be fork tender, they say. So this is almost done. Let's just go ahead and go on the fennel. All right. Now, this thing right here is a mandolin. Has anybody seen these? Okay. So this is a Japanese mandolin. The French have one that's made out of stainless steel and probably about 10 times the cost.
Yes.
These last forever. You get them from your local Asian market, you get them offline. They sell replacement parts. It's just a really good tool. The thing that I don't like is it comes with a guard, and when you use the guard, you're more likely to cut yourself. That's why I have this vibrant orange cut glove on, okay? And you can buy these at stores as well. So we're just going to slice the fennel nice and thin.
Justin has one too.
Okay. And what I did with the fennel is I actually cut the bottom off and I took the outer layer out because the outer layer tends to be a little fibrous. It also ends to be a little bit dirty too. So We want to make sure those are nice and clean.
And you just remove the fronds and
Yes.
put them aside for a garnish.
Yeah, you
or
could use them for a
something else.
garnish. You can infuse oil with them. Okay? So we just have some of those. We're just going to add those into a bowl. All right. And then we're just going to add a little bit of our vinaigrette. Now, you want to kind of dress this to the point where it's a little overdressed, if I could say so.
Right.
Because you want the fennel to kind of saturate. Now, if you're going to make this, and let's say dinner's at 6 o'clock, you want to do this about 5:40, 5:45. Let it sit for about 15 minutes, excuse me. So we're just going to let that fennel kind of saturate in that pickled vinaigrette. And again, I'm going to bring in my little seasoning mix that I have.
Nice.
Okay? And we're going to just let that sit and set that aside. All right? All right, let's work on our celery puree.
Give you some room. I'm over here
Yeah, I'm
enjoying
sorry.
this dish. No.
Okay. So the brown butter. I made brown butter ahead of time. Oh, okay, it screws out. Sorry. New equipment. I made some brown butter ahead of time. And we actually were going to... Does everybody see this? You can actually see the color.
Oh, that
Okay.
it's so funny. I was sitting there looking at it and trying to figure out what that was. So that was brown butter.
Yeah, so this is brown butter.
Okay.
So you put a pound of butter in the pot, bring it to a boil, skim the impurities like you're making clarified butter, and you just let it go. And what will actually happen is the fat will actually start burning, browning on the bottom of the pan. And then just when it's time to start to turn that brown color, you take it off.
Right.
Put it through a strainer, cool it off, and then you can cut little cubes out of it.
Wow.
Okay?
But you pull it off because you don't want black butter.
Right, you don't want black butter. All right, so we got the celery root and the cream in there.
Nice.
All right. We're going to add a little bit of this brown butter. You don't want a lot of it because it actually is pretty strong. So we're going to add about a tablespoon in here.
But it just gives this depth of flavor that you just can't get, that nuttiness from even nuts, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I came up with that, because I wanted the brown butter to kind of counteract with the pecans.
Yeah,
Okay, so
nice.
whenever we're going to put something hot in the blender, you always want to make sure one of there's a piece of the top open, because what will happen is it will explode on you. So
Has
actually,
that happened to anyone?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. I was staging or shadowing at True in Chicago about 15 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
And they had a tour come through, and the chef told me, "Hey, you need to go puree that garlic milk or whatever."
Right.
I can't remember what I was doing. I was so nervous. So I brought it in the walk-in, and he's like, "Why am I bringing the blender in the walk-in?" Well, they had a tour come in, and they didn't want the sound of a blender.
Oh,
So I go in the walk-in, and I was so nervous, I forgot to do that, and it exploded all over the place.
oh.
And I actually ended up getting it cleaned up before anybody found out.
Did
So
you?
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
have,
Rick
I
Germano.
have roast. I was just going to say, Rick, sorry. Yeah, Gail's going to be here on Thursday. I'll mention that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, please don't
But,
tell her that.
I've got roasted tomato soup up on my ceiling even as we
Okay,
speak.
now I'm having technical difficulties again with
it
this
might
thing.
be that this is not. Yep, that's done.
There we go.
There you
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're just going to start out by pulsing this. And you want this nice, thick, and creamy, okay? Sometimes with celery root, it'll be a little grainy. You want to make sure you really blend it well. Okay? Now, in another pan, I have what's called as a chinois, or a fancy word for a strainer,
Right.
fine mesh strainer. This will actually make the puree nice, silky smooth. Okay?
Which that's a step that you would always do in a true or in a fine restaurant. We don't necessarily need that beautiful
No.
velvety quality, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When I worked at Victoria and Albert's at the Grand Floridian for years, we probably strained our sauces at least 4 or 5 times before you even got on the
before
table.
before you even thought about it. And they just turned into that velvety goodness.
Yeah. So we're just going to push this through the chinois with a little ladle. ladle will actually help push it right through there. I just want to put this back. All right. You want to make sure you don't do this crazy because you'll get smacked in the face with it and you'll get burned. You don't want that.
No.
Okay?
We do not want that.
No. All right, so I'm just pushing that through. We want a nice silky smooth.
You know, Joe, one of the things I love about everything you've done here is that each individual part we could use in a myriad of ways. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
Celeriac or celery root puree with Thanksgiving.
Oh,
even
yeah.
if we're having it with turkey
Yeah,
would be
and
fantastic.
this dish would be great with adding just a grilled piece of pork chop with it, too. So.
Exactly. Love it.
All right, so we got our puree. You want to keep this covered with a piece of plastic wrap on it in your like real low oven, or you could just put it in a bowl and just heat it up later on. Okay.
Perfect.
So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what the pork belly looks like when it comes out of the oven.
So we're fast forwarding 3.5 hours.
We're fast forwarding 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and what actually I did with this is I removed it from the braising liquid, removed all the vegetables out of it, the nuts, the herbs, and I actually put it in another sheet pan and actually pressed it. Okay, so you put it in one pan, get another pan that fits on another one, and weight it down, you know, wrap a brick with tin foil or fill it up with ice water and chill it for a couple hours like that, and that actually makes the belly flat like that.
Wow.
All right? Whoops. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to get another saute pan hot so we can start searing that. Okay?
Who wants to make sure that when Joe comes to cook for you at Thanksgiving that he brings a dishwasher? Yes.
Are we going to put that up to turbo too, I guess?
Yeah,
Boost.
definitely.
All right? So we're just going to trim the pork belly. Now, you could go rustic with this. You don't have to trim it. I like to trim it. You save these trimmings for, you know, you make tacos with them. You make pies with them. So we're going to use about a 2-inch piece here. So I'm going to do 2 of them. Okay.
Beautiful.
And you could tell by the texture of the pork belly that it's not overcooked. You want it to almost have kind of a pink opaque color to it. Okay.
And
if you overcook
spring
this,
back slightly, yeah.
If you overcook this would just be mush, and that's not what we want.
No.
All right, so we're going to go back to that seasoning I have again, and we're just going to season each side of the pork belly.
Nice.
Okay. And also got a little olive oil in the pan. And you could do this ahead of time, too. Grab your pork, cut it off ahead of time. Thank you. Have everything ready. They call it mise en place, everything in its place, right?
So that's interesting because I was talking about holding it before we braise it, but the truth is we could go ahead and braise it and compress it as you've done and have it in the refrigerator just like you've done, and then go ahead and get it ready for service. Okay?
Yeah, and like you said earlier, you could do this 2-3 days in advance, okay?
Yeah, perfect.
So we have the belly. We're just going to sear it. Now, obviously, it's real fatty, so you don't need too much fat in the pan. Okay. And again, you want that nice golden brown color. And you know what? You could even, if you didn't want to sear this, you could throw it on your grill. That would be really good. A nice char flavor to it.
Oh, yeah. Did you all enjoy it? Delicious. Yeah, I know.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank
good.
you.
Woo!
All right, so while that's searing, I'm just kind of getting together everything I need to plate it up. All right, I want that nice color on there, that GBD again.
The texture of the pork belly with that smooth, velvety celery root puree is just fabulous.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, so while that's going, we'll start the plate. Another spoon. Just a second. Sorry, guys. Oh, there's some right here. Sorry. Okay. So the puree, to plate this, I'm going to plate a little bit bigger plater than you guys had. Right? Celery root down.
You notice that swoosh? That's that Top Chef swoosh.
All right. Now, before I plate it or put it on the plate, I'll let it dry, drain a little bit on just little paper towels. All right. We're going to put that on top of the puree, like so.
Nice.
And then I also have some pecans that are chopped that I actually toasted with the same seasoning again.
Of course.
With a touch of olive oil. So we're going to put that on the plate as well.
Which just gives that beautiful textural change,
Yes.
too.
Can you get me some of the sauce from the back? All right. And then we're going to put the little bit of the fennel on the side. This has been sitting for about 10 minutes now. And you want some of that crunch still. Okay, so that's going to go on the side like so. All right. And then to garnish, we're just going to take some chervil. This is micro chervil. I love micros. They have a really good flavor. You'd think something that's so small doesn't have a lot of flavor. They definitely do.
It's a huge pop of flavor.
Okay. And then we also have, I got a little flowers here that actually grown here in the land. I like to add a little bit of color. All right, so we'll put that on there. You can have fun with that.
Yes.
All right. And then we're just waiting on the sauce. The sauce that I have for it, which we were talking about earlier, the sauce is boss, right?
Sauce is boss.
Okay.
I said, oh, Joe, you've got to say that. I love that.
The sauce is the remaining liquid that we had from the braised belly that I pushed through a strainer and actually brought to a boil, and then just thicken it up. Thank you, sir. Just thicken it up with a little cornstarch slurry and a little seasoning, and we'll finish the plate with the sauce. You know, just have fun. All right? And like I said earlier, you want to add a pork chop to this, by all means. But
absolutely.
that's my dish.
That is indeed your dish. Chef Joseph Green, so great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Wow.
Everybody enjoy it?
Yeah, what's
All right.
not to love, right? So great. How about some questions for Chef? Anything that you kind of think, I'd like to do this, but I don't know. There's something not, yes. Could you adapt this to a slow cooker, braising the pork belly in that as compared to the oven?
You could. One of the things about slow cookers is that it cooks for a lot longer than it would in an oven. So this would probably be like an all-day thing. Now with the slow cooker, you could do that, but you might find that the belly will fall apart. But if it did that, then just chop it up and sear it up like that, and it'll be fine. You'll still have the same flavor.
Yeah.
You just won't have necessarily the same texture of the belly.
More shredded, right,
Yeah.
as compared to otherwise. But you would still do the searing, though, before you got it into the slow cooker, of course, because you still want that texture
Absolutely.
change, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question. Oh, sorry. Where can you find a pork belly?
Well, I mean, pork belly's been very popular over the last few years. A lot of grocery stores now are carrying whole, uncured, uncooked bellies. I know here in Florida, Whole Foods carries them, and usually Whole Foods, one place, sells the same anywhere else. So,
Yeah.
You just want to make sure you check for that fat to lean ratio. You don't want to make sure it's too fatty.
Yeah, and Publix, you can also get them at. They don't necessarily always have them out, but you can ask for it or even special order it as well.
Make friends with your butcher.
Yeah, your best friend,
Yeah.
right? Yes, absolutely. Another question. Yes. The difference between Oh, broth
Broth
and
and
stock.
stock.
Okay. Broth and stock.
Usually stock is cooked for a very long time. Usually in professional restaurants, we'll start like a veal stock one day, and we'll roast the bones, and the next day you'll add to the cold water and the mirepoix and herbs and spices and let it cook all day. With a broth, you can make a broth in an hour, basically using the same ingredients, but just going faster. So,
Not letting it cook down so much and release so much. So when you buy chicken broth at the grocery store, usually it's it's a little more thin, whereas a chicken stock that a chef would do for 24 hours is rich and deep and almost thickened.
Right. You just want to make sure if you're going to use like Campbell's, for instance, has like chicken broth or beef broth, get the low sodium one, or else your dish will turn out way too salty.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There was another question. Yes.
For the fennel, I would say anything that's kind of in season. If you want to do, a light salad, like apples would go really well. Nice Granny Smith apple would be good. I would say celery. You could do celery would be really good.
Yeah, celery would be great.
yeah.
Even carrot.
Yeah, carrot too. Yeah.
Anything that would kind of pickle, and you would do the same thing. Would you shred it?
Yeah, I would shred it, and you could actually use the same vinaigrette. With apple, it has a lot more moisture, so you wouldn't have to let it soak as much. But yeah, apple would go really good. Even if you want to add apple to the fennel, apple and fennel work well together too.
Apple and pork is like a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yes.
With your pecan. Oh my gosh, think about that. Apple with your pecan.
You got any apples back there?
I know it. We will whip this up. That's all there is to it. I thought I saw another question back here. Yes.
It is not, no.
But did you see that hope in her eyes? I know. It would be so great.
Yeah, we actually, there we go. Okay.
Next time, yes.
It's not on the menu.
Thank you, Justin.
We just transitioned to an all-day menu last year. And when we did that, we kind of shrunk our menu down a little bit. But we did have a pork duo that I put on the menu. And the pork was cooked the same way. And it was actually cooked with our cider strongbow. So that was really good.
Oh,
Went with a pork chop and a pear chutney. It sold well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not on the menu anymore. You're welcome.
Oh, well. Okay. Yes, sorry.
How do you get the shred?
The mandolin to do the shredding.
So if you shred them, the mandolin, where's that? Actually has an attachment that goes in. We call them teeth. And if you flip the unit over, you kind of put the teeth back in. And what it does, the food goes through the teeth first before it hits the blade, and it shreds it. So you could do that also with this
So there's the
application.
slicer, that I've, come very close to with my knuckles. Yes, exactly. There's the slicer, but then that's the shredder. Yeah. Danger, Will Robinson. Okay. I think we're all happy, right? We've started our day well. How about a huge thank you again, Chef Joe Green. So great. And thank you all for coming. I'm going to be going right around the bend and introduce you to those of you that might be ticketed for our beverage seminar. We have the Seeker Wines, and Chuck Richards, a forever friend of the festival, is going to be our tour guide that's going to take us to special wines coming from Spain and France and Italy, seeking the best vineyards. If you don't have a ticket, check with guest relations and see if there's availability. Then we're going to be right back up here at 2 o'clock. We have Chef Miko that is with us, and he is going to be cooking up an amazing dish as well. So we've got fun times ahead. Whatever you do, have a magical day. How about a huge thank you to Justin, not just for finding the apple, but for helping with so very much. All good stuff. Incredible audiovisual team that's brought sights and sounds, and a team that seated and served you food and wine, headed up by Kimberly. So if you see them, fantastic. You all have been terrific. We'll see you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.